am using the PowerByAce Automotive Component Engineering installation kit, which comes with a transmission bracket, comes with the hardware, and it comes with the engine brackets. Welcome to the first video of the Chevy LUV 4.3 Vortec engine swap series. This will show you how to swap in a Chevy 4.3. Now, it doesn't have to be a Vortec. All the 4.3s will swap in the same. I'm using the PowerByAce engine brackets, and in this video, we're going to cover the master cylinder for the clutch, which you won't need if you have an automatic. I'm using the NV3500 over here. We'll show you how to modify the park brake cable bracket so you can maintain your parking brake cable and maintain that functionality there, because as you can see, the clearance is pretty tight. We'll hook up the throttle cable, and I'll show you how to modify the gas pedal to make the throttle cable work. We'll also cover what modifications and what needs to be cut out to make a standard 19x22 radiator. It's a small Chevy SBC radiator. This is basically the smallest small block Chevy standard engine radiator you can get. This is just one off of Speedway, but we'll show the modifications needed to get that to fit in there. I think any aftermarket radiator, you're gonna have to do some cutting to get it to fit in there. I've seen some people use a certain year Mustang that's actually the same size as LUV. They say it cools all right, I think. I have no personal experience with it. I know this cools fine. I mean, this thing doesn't even get close to getting hot at all. It's probably overkill, but you do gotta do some massaging. But as you can see, pretty good fit. I mean, not too bad. So we'll show you how to do that. And then lastly, we'll install the engine mount brackets. These are PowerByAce engine brackets, the only off-the-shelf brackets available that I know of that you can just buy and they're ready to go. That's all covered in this video. That'll be everything done in the engine bay. And then the next step, we'll be dropping this baby in. So here's the deal. This master cylinder is about wrong as far as fitting on here in about every way. The flange is clocked. My other one's like that. The port is pointed straight down. It hits right here. That's my outlet port. I think it's a little close to bend to hard line. Pretty well centered, actually. It's not too bad for just eyeballing it. It's close enough. This is actually the push rod out of the old slave cylinder. Here's the one that comes with that slave cylinder. One, it's too long, so I would have had to cut and weld it. It's an eyelet style instead of a fork style, so I would have had to modify that. Instead, I decided I'll just use this. For this snap ring, I had to modify it, and I had to modify, you can see I ground that down a little bit to fit in there, but it works fine. This will go in there. Huh? All right, now in here, you can see I stayed with the stock fork there, stock fork push rod. Now it ended up, I didn't really have enough travel. I wasn't getting full disengagement of the clutch in there. So what I had to do, you can see up here, I had to remove the clutch safety switch since I'm not using it anyway. So I could get this pedal a little further back. You see how it's offset a bit? Yeah, that's not ideal, but it's not a real big deal. That got me just enough extra travel where the clutch fully disengages. But I've got the master cylinder here for the clutch. Got the line coming over here. Okay, and I got normal inverted flare, and I got a line from inverted flare to JIC, and then I got a little flexible line that's going to go from here to the transmission, because you can't have a solid line going all the way there. You'll have leakage problems or break. This is kind of a bulkhead fitting. Here, like that. I'm gonna lock it in with the snap ring, and then I'll kind of hold that steady. That's just a big washer and a smaller washer and a self-tapper. Kind of melted the head of the self-tapper there. Here's what I finally ended up with. You can see there the bulkhead fitting. Got this snap ring, and then the flex line will go right there and hopefully reach my slave cylinder. So I ordered the PowerByAce engine brackets for the engine swap in this. They look pretty quality. Definitely an old school guy. You send him an email, let him know what you want, and you send him money in the mail, and then wait by your mailbox. The instructions say that the heater hose, I think it says, can be left as is. We're not gonna mess with that right now, but the instructions do say that that park brake pulley is gonna get in the way, and you're supposed to move it a 1/2 inch over and 1 inch back Obviously the pulley doesn't fit on there anymore if you do that, but there's a little bushing inside of the pulley, and it says just to use the bushing. I went to the hardware store and I got this little guy. I'm gonna rub that pulley off of there, or if that's too big, I'll use this little guy. Now this one will have to be drilled out, but a little easier on the park brake cable there. Pulling that park brake cable around a tight radius like that, and it's gonna break. You know, it'll last for a while. It's gonna bind. It's gonna be harder to pull. So it's the reason that that pulley's that size to begin with. But take that pulley out, drill the new hole, and see how much room we have. Oh, there's a little bushing. This is a little bushing it says to use. It says just to leave that on the bolt, and that's it. You can see it comes out of here. Apparently the engines must be up in this area because we have to move this back and cut that bracket off. So this is going to be too big for how far I'm supposed to move that back. Well, I looked at it a little bit, and I'm going to have to go with the small roller in order to cut enough of this bracket off. It looks like the instructions are kind of vague. They don't include a measurement for cutting that off, just relocating the hole. Get the hole back there, put the roller in, and cut as much of that bracket off. I'd say that's pretty well good there. Now this is at a slant, so I'm going to go normal to the bracket, not straight up and down. But see, that's too much space. If that moves, the cable could slip past it and get jammed up in there. So we're going to take up that space with these fender washers. The problem is I'm too close to the wall there and it doesn't clear. But I need it tight against the wall to keep the cable up on top of it. So I bolted these all together, got them here in the vise. I'm going to Alright, if I hold the camera right, it looks like a right angle. Here's what we ended up with. Maybe turn the flash on. Washers keep the cable from being able to slip under it, but it rotates. Empty. Alright, now I'm going to clearance that bracket. Probably should take the cable out of the way just so I don't accidentally cut it and ruin it and defeat the whole purpose. But that would require me to take that bolt back out, and so we're just going to send her all the way. Ugh. Really tired of climbing in and out of this thing. I'm just going to go like that. We'll see how close to the wheel we are. Come on. I'm thinking this is going to work all right. I should have cleaned up my washers a little bit more. If I cared about that kind of shit. I'm just function. That's what I worry about. You know, this isn't going to be seen. This engine bay, I mean, look at it. Like, who cares? That's what matters to me. Next on the to-do list, the throttle cable kit I'm using is a Mr. Gasket 5659. See up there, see that flat spot? I may just try to twist that end and weld it shut. But first, just need to pull this out of here. It's pretty much just held in with the cotter pin, whatever you want to call it. Wow, it's kind of crusty. Oh man, I hate working under the dash. It just sucks. Wow, amazing. We've got this that needs a hook to the throttle, so when I press on the gas, it goes like that. Now on my stock pedal, you can see how that, doesn't quite work. So what I'm going to do, I think, see how it's oriented like that? I need to take this in, and I'm going to twist it 90 degrees. I might just weld that top little opening shut, see for that pin to go through. So that'll just go on there right like that. Nice and neat. And I think that's the cleanest solution. I think I can just heat that up with a map torch and twist it. Alright, we'll straighten her back out like so. Just a little bit more like so. I think that'll do it. If you focus, see how it's now in line with it. Alright, as you can now see, that is straight with the pedal. So that'll work just like it should right through the stock hole. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to weld that gap shut. Woo! I'd say I don't need that much heat. Yeah, I think that's about good enough. We'll just grind her down flat and it'll be mint. You won't even tell. Yeah. Good enough. Now what you do with these cable kits is it comes with a little Allen wrench. Loosen that little set screw that locks the cable in. And that cable will come out. And then that cable comes out. Pull her through. Take the sheath, the factory hole that you can't see because it's fuel lines in the way, but it's right there. So it's a little bit big, but that's going to be fine. In here, you can see my thread sticking through. This will go ahead and go on there. Look at that. Yeah. That's mint. I'll go ahead and tighten that up. Went ahead and cleaned up the main pivot pin that goes in here and the gas pedal pivots on. We will spray it with some of my favorite shit that you don't want to be anywhere near ever. It's like paint. It will permanently stain, but it lubricates good. I like to kind of refer to it as a permalube, like something that you want to lube. Dirt doesn't stick to it too bad. It kind of gets a little thick. It's got high moly in it, so it's like a grease spray almost. Okay, turns out my thumbs aren't good pliers. My pliers aren't even good pliers. Maybe I'm the common denominator here. I'm gonna blame it on, I'm trying to hold it up here so you can see what's going on. And I gotta kind of keep an eye on the camera, my peripheral vision. Else I look over and I got the camera pointed off into outer space. Alright, you see that? Look at that. Oh. Not like that pen needs to be lubricated too bad, but it's not going to hurt, besides making a mess. Cotter pen, why would they bend it that much just for shipping? Why you do that to me? Go ahead and feed this cable back through the nipple and back through the sheath. Go ahead and spray the pin. I'm going to spray it outside. I came out this way. That's the way it goes in there. Oh yeah, look how much easier it in there. Oh yeah. See the cable moving in and out? This end's adjustable, and this end has a stop bolt behind it, so if we need a little more one direction or another, we can get it. No problem. Nice thing to do with this throttle on the inside here is hook up this spring thing. Boom. Looks factory. I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie the band back on, even though this will need to be cut, so I don't lose parts. I need to cut out for the radiator, figure out the radiator mounting. I'm going to get my wires in the right place, basically have everything ready I can before the engine goes in. I was sitting here looking at this and kind of forgot to start recording. Basically, this was the same over here before I just cut it. But this piece has to come out. This piece just came out. This bottom piece, because my radiator needs to go up in here. That's my radiator there. So I just kind of started cutting because that's what I know needs to come out for sure. We'll go ahead here and knock this other side out the same way. I'll show you. All I did was freehand it with a marker and then try to follow my line with the plasma. Yeah, so it looks like that bottom cross member does have to come out. On the 76 and older LUVs, that piece is out of the way already. It curves out. Wow. What the hell is this shit? How'd I get grease on here? Oh, great. Use your shirt, huh? Show you guys what I'm running into now. I got that stuff all cut out. Got the radiator mocked in here. We're tight there. And we're tight there. In other LUVs, this isn't as close, I guess, for whatever reason. And it fits behind the steering box. But I need a whole nother 1/4 inch to get it to fit behind the steering box. And the only way I'm going to get it to do that is if this is cut out of here. Well, this plane is in flush with this. So unless I cut the whole thing out, the only way I'm going to get that back there is if, instead of being straight up and down, I kind of kick the radiator out like that towards the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Now we got all kinds of room for activities. Okay. Yeah. Do the same thing over here. Come on. All right. Basically cleaned up the surfaces with the grinder. I grinded a little bit more out there to clear the cap. I got my brackets. I bought a bracket kit. If you do these, don't buy a bracket kit. These things are almost worthless in this LUV configuration. I took this bracket and I bent it my vise into a Z configuration because this isn't going to do me any good either. You can see I got my brackets sitting on there. They're on the cross member. They're just loose right now. I think I'm just going to weld them right to here. Put some rubber on top of them. That'll just be a little cradle for it to sit in. Just gonna rub. I'm not real impressed with these brackets. Like, it'd be nice if the radiator came with some mounting, what would you call it, bungs or something. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm doing. ZZ is what I'm thinking. I'm probably gonna screw them into there with a self-tapper so that they can be removed so we can take this radiator out. As you can see, it's not even the right depth. I don't know. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but as you can see, that offset is about yay. I got some rubber belting and put on there, super glue it to the bracket, and that'll be that. There's not a whole lot I can mount to. I got that and then this, but then I might have to cut part of this out, so I want to keep it to the edges. I don't want to mount anything up along the top, so I'll get the hole drilled in this. We'll get the other bracket bent the same way, get the rubber glued on there, and then I'll get back with you guys. It's pretty, I mean, nothing you need to see really. Drill a hole through there, glue a square piece of rubber on there, cut it with a knife. Alright, so I think I got a pretty decent, well, let's not go that far. I got an okay plan. See how those brackets are positioned down there? I'm just going to tack weld them into place with the radiator holding them where they go. And then I'll move the radiator and weld them a little bit more. See where that rub's right there? Oh! I'm going to put a piece of rubber right there on each side so it doesn't rub against that. That'll take up the remaining space there, and that'll hold that kind of nice and snug. I'm probably actually going to put that down there below the neck. It's cleaner. I'm in need of a bit of a spacer there. Alright, made these spacers under these brackets. Still not high enough. See where I need it right there, 2 plates thick. I didn't have any 1/4 inch plate, so I did have a 2x2 at 1/4 inch angle, so I just split it down the middle and made 2 shims from it. It is not touching on either side, and I will have about an 1/8 inch piece of rubber on top of both of those. They ugly, but they aren't going anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and tack these and lift the radiator out, and then we'll stitch weld them. Okay. Solid. I want to paint those welds, but first I want to stick down these rubber isolators. I'll go ahead and just super glue these in. I need those to be like, there we go. All right, I think my glue is dried, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out, and we'll give that bare metal a little bit of a rattle can job. Mint. That's about factory there. Rattle can here, rusty metal primer. You can smell the paint through the mask or your respirator. It's not working. Go here like this, and I'm gonna cut off a piece of a greasy old tire tube. I'm gonna fasten in here so that that rubber is in between the radiator and the core support there. I'm gonna put that there, and then that way the radiator will rub against the rubber. And I'm gonna put a pop rivet here and a pop rivet here. I want these in the upper corner because the radiator's kind of at an angle. The radiator shouldn't rub on the rivet heads and completely defeat the purpose, is my thinking. And see, it hangs past here, so that's really where it's going to be rubbing, is right along this bottom edge here. Yeah, I'll just do that same thing on the other side. Rubber inserts, isolators. The radiator will go up against here, and then we'll have our holders up top, and it should be secured. All right, got the holder here, got space, rubber. We're going to jam this one in towards the upper side. I'm just going to send her all the way with a self-tapper. Perfect. Look at that. Man. If I go up here, it's too high. It looks dumb. It sits on there, so we're going to send it right there. If the self-tappers aren't enough, we'll come up with a through bolt or something. I think that's pretty good. Radiator secured. Up against rubber, everywhere around, no metal on metal. And really, when it comes down to it, hose by itself, the rigidity of it over to the engine should kind of hold this up against there. And the bottom cradles, I mean, this shouldn't be wanting to go anywhere anyway. I am using the PowerByAce Automotive Component Engineering installation kit, which comes with a transmission bracket, comes with the hardware, and it comes with the engine brackets. Now you can see this one, I just have it sitting in there. I need to drill 2 holes in that backside piece, and we're going to mark those, drill them, and install these guys. So we're in the engine bay here. I just have them finger tight and shift them all the way forward. They have a little bit of up and down movement. I'm going to try to get it positioned in the middle of that movement so that I'm not at one extreme or the other. I scratched a mark for the 2 extremes there. So that's all the way up. That's all the way down. I think that's about where I want to be. Make sure the brackets are all the way forward there. And see, since these are slid all the way forward, our bolt centers will be on that round part there. All right, so I measured the bracket, and the holes are 1 9/16 inches apart. So what I'm going to do is anytime you're trying to measure like this, burn an inch. Don't try to measure from this metal part. Measure from right there. So I need 1 9/16. Right there. Oh, I should drill a pilot hole. Oh, wow, I missed. Wow. Get on there. I have the driver's side in. I just did the nuts hand tight. We will leave these loose, just hand tight like this until the engine is in here, because we're probably gonna have to shift
shift them a little bit. We'll see where we want the engine, and to get both sides to line up, get the thing in here straight. So that's done for now.
Just finishing up putting the clips together for the engine bay prep video that I'm doing that shows all the things you need to do to get the engine bay ready to drop the engine in. And there's a couple things I wanted to cover. The first thing is the transmission tunnel. I don't have a video of me knocking that out. It needed to be clearanced. I'm running the NV3500, which is a 5-speed. I don't know about automatic trans like a TH350 or whatever, TH400. But the instructions from the manufacturer for the braces, PowerByAce, they do say to to clearance. I think I probably went about that far back, and mostly towards the front, mostly towards this side. And you can just, actually I did quite a bit of that to try to clearance that up and get it up and out of the way enough. And it says go up an inch, as in bend that up that much. And I would definitely recommend doing at least that, because when you go in, especially if you try to go in with the engine attached to the transmission, you're going to want every bit of that clearance you got, and it's pretty tight. So make sure, I wish I would have got a picture or something, but it's obviously kind of hard to see now, but make sure you do clearance that good up, get the firewall up. Definitely clearance your tunnel. I think these engine brackets sit a little bit higher than some people that have made their own. They say they don't have to clearance the tunnel, but I know I wouldn't have gotten away with it if I didn't. Now, the second thing I want to cover is I ended up having to beat in that firewall a little bit because I've got this big HEI distributor. If I were to do it over again, I would go with like MSD. I'd go with an MSD ignition that has a separate box or whatever, but the main thing is they've got a small distributor, and the distributor doesn't take up so much space. Or if you're doing the fuel injected version of this, which this is the Vortec, but I just went carbureted, then you don't have to worry about that because the stock one will clear. But this big thing, it it might almost clear, but either plan on beating in your firewall or get a smaller distributor than I have there. Coming up, I've got all the steps to get from the video where this video ends to this stage here. Hopefully it's not too boring. Covering every detail gets kind of monotonous, but I want you to be able to watch this series, get all the way through, and you'll know exactly what goes into putting in an engine. I know everyone's like, oh, it's easy, but those people are usually fabricators and stuff. So I want to show you, kind of you backyard guys like me, what does it take to get this in? So as always, thanks for watching. Drop me down a like in the bottom if this video didn't totally suck. I appreciate it. Your subscription if you want to see more, want to see rest of this. I'm going to be doing a lot more after the engine swap, as far as making this a bit nicer interior and stuff. And I've got other projects. Oh, she's a bit dusty. I've been kind of neglecting this, but I didn't get any of this on video. I do have a lot of pictures. I might put together a video sometime, but I'm always working on stuff, working on junk, trying to store it. I got an old water pump over there. I never know what I'm going to do. I definitely like trying to bring stuff back to life. I'm not so good on the bodywork stuff. I can hack my way through patching a hole in the floor with the wrong material, but I'm sure I'll get some hate for the way I plan on doing that, but we'll leave that for later. Share anybody you want to know that might be interested in engine swapping a LUV or anything automotive. Whatever tickles your fancy, let me know what you'd like to see. Stick around if you like this kind of stuff. Thanks for hanging out.